Greetings, YouTube. Happy Friday. Years ago, when I rebranded my channel from critiquing Oreos and pizza. Every time I say that, I feel like people don't believe me. But the proof is in the videos. If you go back far enough, MCFC will cease to exist on this channel, and you'll see nothing but a guy with more hair and less dad bod look, and probably more energy, and his soul is still in his body because he didn't discover what's called the arena in the Marvel Casino of Champions. But when I rebranded it and I had 48 subscribers and a couple thousand views to the channel, I said, I promise you, regardless of how well this channel does, I will grade every offer that comes into the game, because I felt like there was a giant hole in the community for that kind of data and critiquing. And everybody gets excited to critique July 4th weekend, Cyber Weekend, you name it, spring cleaning event, when the 5 and 6 star OG Vision randomly makes an appearance. But today's one of those days that, you look at the offer and you say, all right, prof, this video may not get views and you may not enjoy grading it, but put those professor specs on, because a promise is a promise. And in this world, two things. One, you are only as good as your word. And two, it takes years to gain someone's trust, but only seconds to lose it. And that goes for respect as well. And once you lose someone's trust or respect, it's very hard to get it back. So, ISO 8 selector bundles. We have two different bundles, a 200 unit and an 80 unit. Now, you might be wondering, why are these appearing in the game more? We didn't used to see them very often. Well, the economy of the game in general has shifted. It is much easier now, easier than ever, to open a 5 or 6 star champion, particularly if you are Cavalier and above. So that means Kabam knows that they can't do the same amount of deals that they used to for, say, 5 star shards and 6 star shards. It's not that those deals can't exist ever. They do maybe about once a month. But they used to be once or even twice a week in some cases. So if you have 5 and 6 star champions for cheap, way easier than ever, particularly on Wednesdays this month for the What If Nexus Crystal Bundles, you have to say, well, what does it mean to have a bunch of new 5 and 6 star champions? That means that there is a higher demand and lower supply for gold, for signature stones, for rank up materials in general, even when you consider the changes and buffs to the Glory Store as of somewhat recent, but now it's not even that recent. And then, of course, ISO. Now, people always ask me, Prof, how do you have so much gold? How do you have so much ISO? It's the arena, and it's a combination of premium crystals and now Grandmaster crystals. When I dupe my 2 and 3 and 4 star champions, that's how I get so much ISO. But it is also a sacrifice of some, if any, sanity left in my brain that goes away to do that arena grind. And a lot of you out there are much less addicted to the arena, and that's, trust me, a benefit to you more than it is to me. And so you don't have the time or the patience or the inspiration to do the arena daily or weekly or sometimes even monthly. So it's these kind of bundles that you wait for. And they're just so straightforward. This is the future of unit offers. Now, 10,000 gold is literally $1 of gold. 100,000 gold is the retail price and has been since I started reviewing offers in 2017. 10,000 gold is the retail price for $1, meaning every $10 is 100,000, or $100 is a million. So for 200 units, which let's just remember what that actually is. That is almost $10, but definitely more than $5 worth of units. You get $1 worth of gold and tier 6 ISO. Now it's important to note, got to read the fine print on this. For a limited time, those who become Cavalier can purchase ISO 8 bundles that contain materials to help reinforce your team. One tier 6 class ISO 8 selector. So it is just one. Limit 15. Wow. So they are hoping you spend $100 worth. Although $100 worth only gets you $15 worth of gold. And then summoners level 5 or higher can get 50 cents worth of gold for 80 units and a tier 5 ISO selector. If you're desperate, I get how offers like this, or at least something you're forced to think about, but in terms of value, particularly because there's nothing else, like I even feel like it's a little clickbaity, and when I say clickbaity, I mean you're promised something that isn't delivered upon. Because if you just think about, like if you're trying to bait somebody into clicking, well, another word for bait is convince them, inspire them. So to me, there's a good version of clickbait and a bad version. A good version is like, hey, that's a great thumbnail and title. I'm intrigued about that video, and then you watch it and it delivers on what it promised you it would deliver. Yeah, it baited you to click it, but you're thankful you spent X amount of time watching it. The bad version is when it promises you something that you feel like was a lie. And certainly I have learned a lot about clickbait and have grown, hopefully, in my efforts to not try to deceive viewers into thinking they're clicking on something that they're not. My channel's changed a lot in 4.5 years, and you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? But I think that if I was even going to give this a C grade, it would have to have close to 100,000 gold, 10 times the amount of gold. But Kabam is putting such a tremendous price tag on ISO and gold right now, especially gold, that it's kind of depressing. Like, the gold pricing of this is depressing. Like, that's the title of this video. That's my takeaway. The gold pricing is depressing. It's just inflation like nothing else. So I've got to give both these offers failing grades. And, you know, look, I don't do that with joy. I do that with sadness, because I want people to rank up their 5 and 6 star champs, especially because, hey, what do you know? This super expensive ISO and gold bundle happens to be, coincidence? I think not. Exactly during a 22-hour solo event, which I look forward to ranking up my lesser stars, Kitty Prides, to get those points. But, yeah, can't level up somebody without resources, right? I just, like, I know that Kabam and their bottom line probably isn't where they hoped it would be, especially compared to even last year. And most people aren't in the kinds of lockdowns that we were under a year and a half ago. And so they aren't playing on their phone as much. And so it's also a different environment of actually committing yourself to a screen. But you can still at least give 10 times the amount of gold for just a normal price as you do in these bundles. The weird thing is, this is actually a better gold offer, and it's still a total trash gold offer, but that just speaks to how, like, crazy high in price for what you get this tier 6 ISO bundle is. This is like not making people feel glad that they're Cavalier to see this. And look, tier 6 ISO is great, but for 200 units, that's like the same price as a regular Cavalier crystal. I don't know. That's my assessment. I know I've said this and maybe people are already getting sick of hearing it, but I really, really appreciate the love you all are sending Kabam Broccoli's way. I am a journalist. I have been interviewing people since I was in high school, when my first ever job was to be the sports reporter and editor for my hometown newspaper and also high school paper. And so you got to see what I love the most, which is interviewing people and shutting up to let them talk. When you click on an interview, you don't click on it to hear the person that's asking the questions. You click on the person that they're asking questions to. So remember, kids, when talking to somebody, don't go, yeah, no, that's fake. Nod your head, listen to what they're saying, and if you prove to them that you were listening, you'll ask follow-up questions that directly related to what they were saying, because you were listening to them and not to yourself. Ego and insecurity are directly correlated, and I'd like to think this channel doesn't have to worry about that. Have a great rest of your Friday. Don't buy this trash.